Right, welcome to another live with myself and Simon from Poppy Design Studio, and we're discussing around, getting out there so people still know you exist, and we're coming out back out of the COVID side and the pandemic side. Things seem to be moving. Big confidence levels and high confidence levels. I watch the PMI, which people know about, and the manufacturing side. Good confidence levels coming from what the FSB, which Simon knows probably more about than me with his dealings with the FSB. We were just having some discussion around this and getting out there. And I came across an article around top three strategies for marketing. And there's a list in there, and we're going to discuss some of them, but then also some of what we've come across before and expectations. So, do you want to kick off? Because we just spoke around sort of like certain things. I mean, we get certain expectations around the digital marketing and social media side, and people's expectations of, I'll do it for this amount of time and I'll get this amount of sales from it. And with the social media management side, it's all about organic growth, and it doesn't work like that because there are so many variables in it. Good copy, good content, everything. And so there is, there's a whole host of things that go with it, and they are long-term strategies. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great topic for a start because obviously getting visible and being visible, the turbulent time we've all had over the last sort of 15, 16 months, who still exists? It's who's still out there. It's important for people to still be seen and still be out there, in my opinion, even if they've had to, readjust their lives and take, some employment or something, but they still can supply at weekends or something. It's still important to be seen and to be out there. But I'm intrigued on these three points that you've got there. So
These top three, is it a
come
top
on, what have you
three
got?
strategy in business? And I wrote down some stats from the article, and I should have saved the article because I could have quoted it, but my mistake, and I didn't. But so they're saying, right, is it a top three strategy, question mark, percent of businesses who say yes? So the number one is word of mouth, and 62% of businesses say yes, that's a top three strategy. Now, my opinion, as you've just been saying, is word of mouth can't be fantastic. Really is, goes along with testimonials and social proofing and all manner of stuff. And, you know, consumers trust when they've heard it, particularly from friends and people like that they've been recommended from friends. It goes far, I think it would far outweigh any other sort of marketing side. But the other side for me is you cannot rely on it. It's not measurable. It's not repeatable. We don't know. We've got no grip on it. So it's not predictable. I agree. But what do you think?
Yeah, I certainly think it's the top one. Obviously, people are talking about you in a positive way, and even if they're talking about you negatively, you've still got the chance to overturn any negative comments and things like that, because it could just be perception, people's view, people's comments. Especially when someone says, "Oh, those guys were useless," and then someone says, "Well, what was useless about them?" And then somebody actually turns the conversation back on them, and then they turn around and go, "Actually, maybe it was you that got it wrong, and not the company." So, word of mouth, I think, is extremely powerful, and I think it's extremely powerful in this day and age. You're
Mm.
right; it's not measurable, and you can't tell who's talking about you unless somebody just says something like, "Oh, I've heard about you guys," and you're like, "Well, what have you heard about us?" And then you can create the conversation and then get the conversation flowing. So yeah, without doubt, I mean, it's one that we strive very hard for here. There's various things behind word of mouth that you can put into it. So even just get involved with community work and things like that.
Mm.
It creates conversation. That those people from that company, they're great. They really care and all this lot. If that's what they do for the community, then what are they doing for clients? And that's an important one, I think. And something we thrive on here. But you're right; it's not measurable.
Yeah, no, but I absolutely agree with you. Is that people do look at the whole around what you're doing, your brand, your corporate social responsibility side. That you're getting involved with charitable charities and things like that. And it is you can't beat word of mouth. But again, then as well is that you were talking about the complaint side. Dealing with the complaints and handling the complaints. And I know FSB have got their support within that. So if anybody does get a complaint, but don't just delete it. Be open and honest and be genuine around it. And you can come across these ones where they are just being malicious. So it's just the way you handle it. Because again, people see that, see how you've handled it, and it can work for you. More than likely, will work for you because of how you are and your approach to it. So don't dismiss them, and don't dismiss the complaints anyway, because that is fantastic feedback. So next one was email. So 34% of businesses say this is a top 3 strategy. Now again, here, email for me is, we do get bombarded by a lot. Done right has a fantastic return on investment. So yes, I was quite surprised at it being only 34%, but then again, that's probably the awareness, and I don't know whether people really know what email marketing can give you, but it has to be done correct. It's got to be done right. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for a start, I mean, we don't look at email marketing here. It's not a strategy for us to market the business, but my experience of using email marketing, sending an email when you think people are going to be on their phones, chilling out, relaxing, bored. I don't know about you, but if I sit in the middle of the sofa on a Tuesday night and I sort of think, oh, what shall I do tonight? And I start watching the TV. I've got my mobile phone in my hand. My emails are on my mobile, so I'm relaxing, and I will read through an email if something comes into the inbox. But if it comes in during the day, I'm like, no interest. So I think the timing of email marketing is key and important. If I send one out for the business network, I sent one out on Bank Holiday Monday deliberately because I knew people were itching to get back to work on the Tuesday. So I thought we'll send it out on the Monday, they're going to open it. So I think the importance is right. If someone sends something to me during the day, the chances are I don't actually acknowledge it, let alone even register in my head, because there's so much going on elsewhere. So timing is key, I think.
Timing is
email
key.
Marketing.
Yeah, and there's a whole host that goes into it, which I'm not going to discuss here. But the thing that I do within my email box is that I've got it set up as the Eisenhower matrix. Do plan, action plan, delegate, eliminate, and then I have another one which is called reading material. So if anything catches my eye in my inbox, I put it into the reading material box, because I know that I'll come back to it at some point, like on a Saturday night whilst I'm having a beer, and I think, oh, okay, I've got 10 minutes, I'll have a quick read, and just filter then through that folder. So yeah, but it is a cracking return on investment done properly. Third one, now this one again, we just had the conversation. Networking. 25% of businesses think this is a top 3 strategy. Now that surprised the hell out of me, because I thought that would have been higher. Because you mix, we've discussed networking on another episode, but you mix networking with word of mouth, and that's powerful. Again, do you think that comes down to some of this expectation of what people think they're going to get out of networking because of the urgency?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely. I mean, people go to networks to sell. Didn't get an order. Well, I mean, I remember once someone came to me in the first couple of months of running our network, and they said, this was before COVID, obviously face to face. I said, how was the meeting? Oh, I didn't get anything. And I went, what were you expecting? Oh, you said an order. I said, but you said you didn't get anything. And he went, yeah. I said, you didn't even get a coffee then. And he said, what? What are you on about? I said, you can't expect to get something on your first network meeting and expect to get a result. Again, people saying, oh, I don't hear my phone ringing, I haven't got inquiries coming through. And I say, well, come to the networks. I've tried a network meeting. Right, okay, so how many meetings have you been to? Oh, 2, 3. Across how long? 6 years. It's not enough. You can't stay in people's mind by just turning up and just going, the spray and pray, as we've called it in the past. You've got to keep visible and keep at it. And we've discussed networking in the past, but to me, it's a massive opportunity to create word of mouth. To get people talking about you, your products, your knowledge, the individuals. Tomorrow is going to be interesting actually, because we're actually double booked. Well, not double booked, but I'm at one event, and we're sending somebody else, another member of the team, to an event, so they can experience what we do as well. So then they know what to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's just someone different representing the business out there, which would be great.
It's great as well because other people get to see who's behind the business and who's works within it. And again, it builds that personality and that brand strength for the business. But yeah, networking, it is the expectation. Yeah, I've attended this meeting. We've got sod all out of it. Yeah, we've attended once, and the thing for me is that I go to meetings to find out and see what's happening and feedback. And the FSB ones are great for doing the feedbacks on what's happening around confidence levels and talking with the individuals to see how they're going on and recommending others. Because I always think that will at some point come back. Karma, whatever you want to call it, yin yang. Law of reciprocity. You just I ain't bother whether it's short, medium, long term. It will come back at some point. So networking and word of mouth, I think, can be very, very strong. Next one, social media. No, I think I couldn't believe this is so low. Social media, 23% of businesses think that social media is a top 3 strategy. Now that again, knowing what we know around social networking, I wrote that stat down here. Social networking sites reach 82% of the world's internet population.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So it's a massive, but then you're only 23% of businesses as a top 3 strategy. And again, I think that I'm making a big assumption. I think that is around their expectation of urgency, of doing it and getting something from it. Whereas we all know this has to be routine and consistency gets the results. You've got to be there doing it all the time. Doesn't mean to say you've got to be spending a lot of time. I mean, I read and I thought it was a fantastic article. I think it was Sunday of this week, or last week even, not this week. And they were saying that from a business perspective, you've got not to be a consumer, but a creator.
Yes.
Within your business, from a business side. And I agree with that. I think it is. They were saying as soon as you become a consumer, you're losing time. He says, so you've got to be tracking the people you want to track to pick up trends and seeing what's working for others. So have these critical few that you keep an eye on that are probably bigger than what you are, so you can just see how they're doing and what they're doing. But you've got to be a creator, not a consumer. What do you think?
You have to constantly create. I mean, we love creating things. Looking at new ways of adapting things, looking at, we do it for clients, but also we're doing it within the business here as well. And I think that's how things evolve. You've got to look at how you can move things forward at the end of the day and looking at, new ways of evolving. You can't sit still.
Yeah.
I mean, I know, and we all know, businesses supply a product or service, and it's always got a shelf life. That shelf life will come to the end at some point because the world naturally evolves. And I think you've got to constantly be on it. You've got to constantly be looking at how things can be added value to what you're offering, and just seeing different ways of working and operating. And I mean, one of the things we've actually done this year, we're actually offering a work experience program for young people, and we've got 30. I mean, rather than taking on one work experience, we actually take on 30 students across 10 weeks. Now, for me, that's really exciting because I know we can obviously take on these students, and it'll be a chance to see what it's like to be a teacher and all this. But for us, I mean, I look at it, that's 30 potential people understanding what we're doing over one, and that's where we're creating and evolving as a business as well, in reaching out and not only helping young people get experience, but also getting to showcase what we do and share our knowledge as well. So
yeah, absolutely. Those 30 people got within families. They go and talk about the great work that you're doing within that with their family, and it goes from there. And you got 30 brand ambassadors sort of like side, haven't you? Talking about you, which is great. And your future generation potentially of customers, and that's a top idea, cracking idea. Next one, search engine marketing. Now again, this was again, I'm assuming here. I think it's more about understanding with this the search engine marketing. 14%.
Okay.
Now I don't know a lot. The SEO side is one that I don't know a lot about, but I do know that within building your website, building your H1 titles, H2 titles, you want your keywords in there. You want them preferably right at the beginning within the first title. You want them in the body and content, but we're talking around that's the page. But the SEO, the search engine marketing, which is around the keywords within Google AdWords and Facebook, again I've found is a phenomenal potential. So the two go hand in hand. But that search engine marketing side, keyword marketing, can be a big pay back. Done right, but again, for me there's a load of variables in it. Is that your search engine marketing, your keywords that pop up at the beginning or the top if you've got the headline in Google, somebody clicks through. It's then dependent on your website and your content and everything like that to draw them in and get the click and get the contact. So there are loads of things different into it. Loads of things that lead into it. What are your thoughts? I was quite surprised at how low it was, percentage-wise.
Yeah, I mean, there's a big grey area, I think, on it. Unless you really understand it, really know it. There's so many people perceiving to be experts out there as well. Oh, we can always guarantee you page one on Google. Reality, yeah, right, okay, good luck. It is competitive, and obviously it depends on what you do as well. But yeah,
somebody's always going to have a bigger budget.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, ultimately, it comes down to money, doesn't it? So, when you look at it, it does come down to that. But if you think about a traditional high street business, the browser that you look at is technically the vehicle that you drive to that business. If you go to the high street and actually purchase from a shop, the website is obviously the shop front. You've got the products obviously displayed on a website, whether it's a service or product based, or obviously the various products and that inside that shop. It's still not going to sway someone to buy. Yeah, at the end of the day, people will buy when they're ready or they want or they feel that it's right for them. And and unless they get a real good salesperson who does a great job, but normally, to do that digitally is actually quite a challenge. To do it face to face is a lot easier because obviously you can tell where people's eye movements are going and what their behaviour's like. But when it comes to actually digital, people have got to understand that you can't just put stuff out there and expect to get returns. It does take time.
Yeah, it does take time. The SEO marketing for me is around, because we do the Google ads with the keyword search is all around. Is that awareness stage? So if you imagine the top of the funnel, you're appearing to everybody, and you're monitoring the clicks and whatever you're getting through the click throughs from there. But again, the best sort of like return becomes on the retargeting side, because you're now further down that funnel. So the ones that are clicked through are the ones that have got the high potential. It's about retargeting them and moving them down that funnel, and that's where it can be. So you've got to keep this. You can't just do it once and expect certain results. You've got to really master the art of it, and there are a whole host of things that go into that. Is the website and everything, and the content, and getting the people to actually take action against that. So definitely. Next one, content marketing. 13%.
Content marketing. Do people actually get what content marketing is?
No, I don't think so.
I don't either.
No, I don't think so.
I think at the end of the day, I mean, if you're going to put content together, it's got to be relevant, it's got to be right, timing, topical. There's no point. I mean, in the past, I used to cut corners in a massive way with marketing. You sort of look at it and think, right, okay, let's just do a recording, for example, and repurpose that content as much as possible. That isn't going to work or be as successful as something that's targeted towards something that happened yesterday. So, if we're talking about something that happened yesterday, what happened in the news? I'm just trying to think what actually happened in the news yesterday. Well, yeah, no. But let's talk about COVID. Talk about coming out of COVID. If you talk about COVID, we know that this conversation is relevant now because people are beginning to come out of the COVID and unlock premises and open up businesses and things like that. But this content of us talking about that will be out of date in 2 or 3 years' time. People go, oh, so what? COVID's gone, or it's reduced, or it's not affecting us. But there again, it could also be repurposed in a couple of years' time because it is that specifically related to COVID, because we might go for another wave, So it is key to try and drill down as much as possible and put as much detail. And Google loves it as well. So
Yeah, you got to keep relevant and use those trending things that are happening within the news, as you said. When you get to the blog side, I think that the tendency needs to be around keeping it evergreen so you can utilize it. But again, content marketing, I wrote a blog around it, is Eugene Schwartz on breakthrough advertising, which had written a book back in, I think it was the 1960s. And it is the start of the sales funnel, and the 5 levels of customer awareness, and each one is a different message. You can't keep just doing one blanket message and expect that you've got to lead that down the path. And for me, that content marketing is, as with any marketing, if it hasn't got that next step that you want the customer to take or the prospect to take, it's bad marketing. You need that next step.
yeah.
Which then again is another one here is direct mail. And it's 12%, and again this and I don't know whether this is whether that is low because of the digital against this direct mail sort of side. Does it work? And it's all digital now. And when I look at direct mail here, I'm looking at post. Put something through the letterbox. Now I still think you can't beat some of that. Very, very focused. I've spoke with others, and I know we've done it before within businesses. We did an LED screen that they could reuse and posted that, but it's very, very targeted. Very, very warm leads, bulky mail style thing. A gift that they can reuse, but there's a movie on there about the business. So yeah, direct mail I think is still a very good option. Still a very good option. What about you?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, funny enough, we had an inquiry yesterday for someone that's looking to do a direct mail campaign, and she wanted a promotional gift to go in there. And the first thing I said to her is, it's all very well having a promotional gift to go in there, but watch the postage weight and the cost of obviously the postage, because what you think is a great product to send somebody might, A, they might not use it, and B, it's actually going to cost you a bomb in getting it to them. But her view was, well, let's find something, and we come up with a solution for her, and got that to send over to tomorrow. But it's an interesting one. The project I was involved in a couple of years ago involved, funny enough, the virtual goggles, flat pack goggles. These are all branded up, and they'd go out in the mail flat packs, and people could construct them. So they get their little Charlie or little Jimmy to do it at the weekend. Come on, put this together, son, and then put your mobile phone in, and then you get to get a virtual tour of something via looking through these goggles. And I think the fact is that if it's got someone, I think for me, if you're going to receive a product through the post, to keep hold of it, it's got to be something of value that you're going to use. So, maybe, I don't know, Post-it notes, perfect. Branded Post-it notes, stick it on a fridge. Everyone loves a Post-it note, things like that. The virtual goggles were really good as well, because they could be reused as well for other content, provided they knew where to look. So that was a good one. But obviously, about £7 a time, I think they were for a pack to go out. Before postage was actually quite a lot for the actual cost, but they had a high ticket item.
Yeah,
so
that's the thing, isn't it? Is around understanding what your cost of your item is against what you're actually going to post out, and that's why these screens, that was a very, very high ticket item, so it's worthwhile spending the 40 odd pound on the screens each.
Yeah.
But it's very, very sniper focused, because they only need one of them to turn, and they've got the payback, and then some. From that side. So
and those screens as well. There was a one a couple of years ago, a little flip book. So you powered, like the photo frames you get with the click round photos. It's very similar to that. So this was, like a flip book. You open it up, and then they displayed the actual products that they were obviously selling and marketing. And it was a great idea, I thought.
Yeah, no, it's the one that I'd seen used prior. We've used bulky mail and stuff like that. I did one a few years back, which was the old Kit Kat tea bag and coffee sachet thing a few years back now, and that worked great for me. I was just doing some training, saying some training. But yeah, so yeah, don't I think we underestimate direct mail now. I think that can still work sniper focused and understanding. What your ticket cost is against what you're actually putting in for the direct mail and bulky mail side. So that's it, I think, because I've got to watch the time because I know Simon has got to get off. And we normally keep these to half an hour or so we are about there. I hope you found that interesting. I think it was a good discussion to have, and it is got to keep out there, so people still know you exist. Got to keep on the marketing. Don't turn it off, because that is one surefire way to damage your sort of like it's just people not knowing as to whether the lights are turned off, whether you're there or not. You know, so even when you're too busy, don't turn it off, because again they can still think that, oh, the lights are turned off and nobody's in because you're not posting, but the complete opposite is in effect. So keep it consistent, keep posting. Anything to add from that?
No, I just think those businesses that are out struggling, like you just say about visibility. Obviously, I think everyone's been through none of us have ever been through anything like this ever, and businesses that have had challenges and maybe find it difficult to get out there, keep the faith and just see what you can do to raise the game really with your marketing, and see what you can do to get out there that's going to help get some visibility. And if it means going out picking up litter with people, just a community project, and get talking to people about what you do, then go and do it. And what I'm trying to say is just don't sit around moping around thinking, oh, the world's ended. It hasn't ended. There still is opportunity for you to get out there. And if you've got to kickstart and restart and hit the reset button, if that's the way of doing it, then find ways of keeping visible.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree. Thank you very much, and thanks to all those that are watching, and we'll see you next time.